glittery friends, and welcome to the craft clinic with me, Emma from Theseglitteryhands. Now, I always get asked loads of craft questions, so I thought I'd make this a regular feature where I answer them in a video so everybody gets to know the answers. So we're going to start off with resin, one of my favourite crafts, and I get asked loads of questions about this, so I thought I'd answer them. I use this one mainly, I can never say it. Gedio crystal resin, yes, and I use this to make jewellery. So that's a question I get asked quite often. Is this resin okay to make jewellery with? How clear is it? It's perfectly great for jewellery. It's not brittle, you can drop it on the floor, it's not going to break. It doesn't have a strong odour, and it's really clear, crystal clear in fact. So you can put pictures inside of there if that's the kind of thing you want to do. And it's really easy to use, a very good beginner resin if you're looking to start doing resin work. The next question I get asked is, help, my resin hasn't set, what have I done wrong? So if you've gone to unmold your resin after 24 hours and it's a sticky gooey mess, what's probably happened is your mix is wrong. Okay, so this one is 2 parts resin to 1 part hardener. Resin is really stroppy, like really stroppy. You have to make sure you put the exact amount in, so you know, you really have to be careful when you're measuring that it's exactly on the line, not a little bit over. I always thought, oh, I'll whack in a bit more hardener, then it will cure quicker. It won't. That will just waste, you know, a whole load of resin, so it's a waste of your time. So your mix is really important. You've got your 2 parts resin, your 1 part hardener, and you need to make sure you mix those really well. So you've measured out the correct amount and you've mixed them well. So either of those could be your issue. You didn't mix well enough, or your mix is wrong. So that's something to check. I always mix mine, leave it for a minute, come back to it, mix it again, then I'm sure that I've got everything mixed together. You might not have left it long enough, make sure it is definitely 24 hours. If it is still a bit sticky, leave it for a bit longer. If the next day it still hasn't set, then there's nothing you can do. Nothing at all, unfortunately. What you should also check is the temperature of your room. So resin likes to set in somewhere warm and somewhere dry. So you want to make sure that it's not very cold. If it's the winter, for example, that you're in quite a warm room for the whole duration of the set, and that it's not damp or wet in the room. It's quite a dry air humidity, because wet and cold doesn't work with resin, unfortunately. Also check your moulds are clean. If you're using a mould release, which I'll talk about another time, then make sure you've cleaned that all out and it's dry before you put your resin in. Make sure they're all clean. If you've got old bits of resin in there, that might affect your mix, so get that out of the way. But those are my top tips really. Make sure it's dry and warm, make sure you've mixed it correctly, make sure you've got the correct amount, and that your moulds are clean. Yeah. Yes. The second question I got asked a lot is, how do I colour resin? Now you can use a glass paint, and I've also heard you can use the ink from a Sharpie to do that. I generally use glitter in my resin, which is really good, but you can put anything in there as long as it's quite dry. So you could put in dried flowers or stickers, or you know, little plastic things, whatever you like. Pop those in your resin and leave them to set, and you'll come out with some really awesome things. The moulds that I use are generally silicone moulds, so I normally buy ice cube moulds or chocolate moulds because they're cheap. If you go and buy the actual resin moulds, they can be quite expensive, and they're pretty much the same thing. What you don't want to be buying is a candy mould, so something that's a hard, clear plastic, because it's really difficult to get your resin out once it's set. So you want something movable. Silicone is your best option because you can just peel it away at the end. And you can get some really cool things. I've got ones that are Lego men and sausage dogs and all that jazz. So yeah. I think that's it for my frequently asked resin questions. If you've come up with anything while you're sat here, you're thinking, oh my life, I've got a question, comment below, ask me, I'll let you know anything you want, or find me on Twitter or Instagram. All my links are below, and follow me on Pinterest. Yay! And if you've got any other craft questions, ask them below and I'll do another video as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.